Hello and welcome to the next lesson, multiplying polynomials. This one's not going to be too bad, I hope. So as long as you guys follow along, then it should bring back memories and you're probably going to tell yourself, oh yeah, I remember that from class. Okay, so here we go. So this one, yeah, you're pretty much just multiplying one parentheses to the other. Yeah, so it's going to be like big foiling because you don't just have one binomial times the other, you have a binomial times a trinomial. So it's going to be a little bit more involved when you start multiplying it out. So I have a trick as far as organizing it so that it makes it easier to combine like terms later on. So let's do this. So this 5x and this 8, yeah, they're both going to multiply to all three of these things in the other parentheses. Okay, so I'll show a rainbow that connects what 5x and 3x squared are going to multiply to become. Yeah, they're going to multiply to these three things. Okay, and then the 8 is going to multiply to these three things. So you're going to have basically 6 different multiplication problems. Okay, so I guess I'll take the long way to go around this problem. So it's going to involve more writing like usual, but at least it'll keep you guys, I guess, aware of what's happening as far as how I get certain numbers. Okay, so let's start with 5x times these three things. So we have 5x times the three things in the other parentheses. So 5x times 3x squared. Okay, and just like I think in in one of the early problems, whenever I separated my sets of parentheses when I did my foiling, I put a plus sign between everything. So I hopefully you remember that, yeah? So 5x times 6x. And then 5x times negative 5. Okay, so first round is all done. Okay, and let's see what we get. So when we multiply all this out, we should have 15. Yeah, because 3 and 5 make 15. And x times x squared. So whenever you multiply letters, just do this. Just add the exponents. Yeah, or just count how many x's you have. So you have 1x here, 2x's there. So if you add the amount of x's you have 1, 2, 3. So 3 x's, so x to the third. Okay, then plus, then 5 times 6 is 30. And then count your x's. So 1x here, 1x there. So that makes x squared. Okay. And then you have a plus sign because that's what you have here separating your two sets of parentheses. But you have 5 times negative 5, so that's going to make a negative 25 eventually. Okay. Then you have just count your x's, so 1x here, no x's there, so you just have 1x. So you just put a regular plain old x. Okay. So we have a plus sign and a minus sign right next to each other though. So let's see if you guys remember what you do when you see this, the two signs like this right next to each other. Which one gets erased and which one stays with the problem? Do you guys remember? Well, the rule is, or I don't know if you could really call it a rule, but I just think of it as if I have a plus sign and a minus sign right next to each other, I just erase the plus sign. Yeah, because the plus and the minus is going to pretty much make the whole entire third term there into a negative. So therefore, I just erase the positive. You can keep it there if you want, but you really don't need it. Okay, so that was the first three things multiplied. Yeah, and now we're going to do the 8 times everything. So let's see, where can I fit this 8 times everything? I'll change the color also so that you can see the sequence. Yeah. Okay, so we got 8 times 3x squared plus 8 times 6x plus 8 times negative 5. Okay, so what do we get when we multiply all these together? So 8 and 3, yeah, make 24. And then let's count x's, so no x's there, 2 x's there, so x squared. Okay, and then plus 8 times 6, that's 48. And then count your x's, we have 1x here, no x's there, so just 1x total. Okay, then plus again, then 8 and negative 5 make negative 40. So once again, we have a plus sign and a minus sign right next to each other. So which one do we get rid of? The plus sign. Okay, so now we have to combine like terms. Yeah. So remember now, when you combine like terms, you want to combine them based on the same letter and the same power. So this guy has x to the third. So does anybody match with x to the third in this other line here, the one in blue? So this one in blue, does this one in blue have any x to the third powers? Because if it does, then we can combine it with 15x cubed. So do we see anybody else having x cubed? I hope you said no, because if you did, then you're correct. Good job. So 15x cubed. Okay, so positive 30x squared. So in this blue line, do we see anybody else having x squared? And if you do, we're going to combine it to positive 30x squared. So positive 30x squared and 24x squared. So positive 20 plus positive 30 rather, and positive 24 make positive 54. And when you add like terms, just make sure you keep the letter and the power the same. Yeah, so it stayed x to the third for this one, it stayed x squared for this one. So your numbers in the front are the only things that change when you combine like terms. Okay, so what about this next one, negative 25x? So anybody have just regular plain old x in this blue line? Do you see any that just have regular plain old x like this guy? Well, hopefully you said positive 48x does. So negative 25, positive 48, that makes positive 23. And then since we're combining the like terms for regular plain old x, we put a regular plain old x at the end. Okay. So this top line, the one in black, we ran out of things to combine with them because we found their like terms. Yeah. So these three are done. So let's check this blue line. Is there any term that hasn't been accounted for or used yet? We did the 24x squared. It helped to make m. We did the 48x. It helped to make the 23x. Did we use the negative 40 though? No, we didn't. So let's put a negative 40 on the back end. And we're done. Okay, so a lot of writing, I know, and you can do some of this stuff in your head. Like if you can multiply 5x times 3x squared in your head and get to 15x to the third, that's faster. And if you practice doing that stuff in your head, then you actually can get pretty quick. Yeah. So proceed at your own pace, I guess is what I'm going to say. All right. Good luck, and I'll see you next lesson. Bye bye.